The cold December wind bit through Mia's thin jacket as she wandered aimlessly through the bustling streets of Manhattan. The city's towering skyscrapers, glittering holiday lights, and throngs of people seemed to mock her despair. Just hours ago, she had been kicked out by the family she thought was hers, her adopted parents. They had argued over something trivial, a misunderstanding that escalated too quickly, and in the end, they told her she was no longer welcome in their home. She had nowhere to go. Mia's small backpack, containing her few belongings, felt heavier than ever. Each step on the icy sidewalk was an effort. Her stomach growled, a painful reminder that she hadn't eaten since breakfast, and the winter wind seemed to freeze her very bones. She hugged herself tightly, wishing she could disappear into the crowd, unnoticed and safe. But in a city where everyone seemed absorbed in their own lives, it was easy to feel invisible. As she passed a brightly lit cafe, she peered in longingly, watching patrons sip hot chocolate and laugh with friends. The warmth and cheer inside felt like a cruel joke. She pressed her forehead to the cold glass, trying not to let her tears fall. No one inside noticed the small, frightened girl outside. Hunger drove her to a nearby hot dog cart, where the vendor was busy serving a line of customers. She approached hesitantly, hoping to ask for the cheapest item, or even a free one. "Excuse me, could I?" she began, her voice barely audible over the street noise. But when she reached into her pocket, she realized she had no money at all. Her cheeks burned, and she turned away, biting back sobs of shame. Just then, the sound of a car engine caught her attention. A sleek black limousine slowed nearby, and the driver's door opened. Out stepped Alexander Reed, one of New York's most elusive millionaires. He was known for his sharp eye for talent, but also for his habit of quietly observing life outside the walls of his wealth. That day, he noticed Mia immediately, her hunched shoulders, the way her shoes scuffed against the icy sidewalk, the helplessness in her eyes. He approached slowly, careful not to startle her. "Are you all right, young lady?" His voice was calm, commanding yet gentle. Mia froze, unsure whether to answer. Most strangers ignored her, or worse, shooed her away. But there was something different about him, something reassuring. I don't have anywhere to go," she whispered, her voice trembling. Alexander's eyes softened. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, elegant card. "Meet me at 5 p.m. tomorrow at the cafe on 42nd Street. Come alone. Wear something warm," he said, handing it to her. Before she could protest or ask questions, he had already disappeared into the crowd. Mia stood frozen, clutching the card, a strange mix of fear and hope swirling inside her. That night, she curled up on a park bench, shivering but gripping the card tightly. Something about the encounter felt like a lifeline, a spark of possibility in a life that had grown unbearably dark. She had no idea what awaited her tomorrow, but for the first time since being thrown out, she felt that maybe, just maybe, life had a different plan for her. The next afternoon, Mia's stomach churned with nervous anticipation as she walked toward the cafe on 42nd Street. Her breath rose in white clouds, and her worn boots clicked against the pavement. She had dressed in the warmest clothes she owned, smoothing her hair nervously. The card Alexander Reed had given her burned a hole in her pocket, a strange mix of hope and fear radiating from it. Inside, the cafe smelled of fresh coffee, baked goods, and the faint undertone of cinnamon. Mia scanned the room, unsure what to expect. And then she saw him. Alexander sat in a corner, calm, composed, and watching her like a hawk tracking a fledgling. He gestured toward the empty chair across from him. Mia approached cautiously, feeling suddenly very small in the presence of a man whose reputation alone could make anyone tremble. "Mia," he said, his voice gentle but with an undeniable authority, "I've been watching the city for years. I notice how people respond when life pushes them down. Most give up. But you haven't." Mia blinked, startled. I don't understand," she whispered. I'm nothing. No one wants me." Her voice cracked. She hugged her backpack tighter, unsure if she should run or cry. Alexander leaned forward slightly, his piercing gaze softening. "Exactly. That's why I'm here. Most people see only the hardships, the mistakes, the lost opportunities. But I see something else. I see potential." He reached into his coat and pulled out a notebook. "I have a habit," he explained, "of noticing people who refuse to give up, even when everything seems against them. And you have that habit built into your very bones." Mia's heart pounded. "But, what do you mean?" "I want to offer you a chance," he said, sliding the notebook across the table. "Not just a job. An opportunity to train with me, to learn the skills that could change your life. But more importantly, to develop habits, daily practices of discipline, kindness, and resilience. Habits that will stay with you no matter what happens. Mia's eyes widened as she stared at the notebook. She felt like she was dreaming. I don't know if I can, she began, her voice trembling with disbelief. Alexander shook his head gently, smiling. You already can. You've survived every challenge thrown at you. You've adapted, you've persisted. Those are the very habits that will carry you forward. Every small action, every choice, matters. Help someone in need. Work diligently. Stay honest. These habits will build the life you deserve. Tears sprang to Mia's eyes. She swallowed hard, overwhelmed by a mixture of shock, relief, and excitement. I promise I won't waste this, she said, her voice firm with newfound determination. Alexander's smile widened. Good, because I see more in you than you see in yourself. Stick with the habits, Mia. Let them guide you, and you'll achieve far more than you ever imagined. As Mia left the cafe later that day, the city no longer seemed so intimidating. The freezing wind felt lighter, the crowded streets less hostile. She had a direction, a purpose, and a mentor who believed in her. For the first time since being thrown out, hope wasn't just a dream, it was a plan. And so began a journey that would transform not only her life but the lives of everyone who crossed her path, proving that even in the darkest moments, the power of small, consistent habits could ignite a future no one dared to imagine.